Kanadi Kalakara to continue the series on the profound Pāļi Nikāya study and discussion on its daily applications. We're also honored to have University of the West, Religious Study Department in California, USA, and Pāļi Sandora Bumi, Indonesia, to co-host the series. The teaching of the series is scheduled for 1.5 hours, including Q&A. Today is part 11. Before teaching starts, here are just a few housekeeping reminders. We are using the simultaneous interpretation Zoom functionality for today's teaching. First, let's briefly go over the channel selection and take a minute to select your preferred language channel. If you see a globe icon on your Zoom screen, that is the interpretation icon. Please click on it to choose among English, Chinese, Indonesian, or Vietnamese, according to your language preference. If you like to listen to English, we suggest you select the English channel rather than staying at off or original sound channel. Otherwise, you will not be able to hear the English interpretation from Chinese or Indonesian interpreter during the Q&A portion. If you use a cell phone or mobile device, after you select the channel, make sure you click Done to complete the selection. Please go ahead and select your preferred language channel now. If you have any questions, please send it to the Zoom's chat room. Also, as a quick reminder about proper Dhamma learning etiquette. Even though this is a virtual Zoom session, please dress appropriately, sit upright, and pay full attention during the teaching to show respect to the teacher and the Dhamma. Thank you for your cooperation. Now that we're ready for the teaching, may we invite Sayadaw to start the teaching and interpreter Bande and interpreter Dhamma friends to start the interpretation, please. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Danny. Let's start our today's Nikāya study session, reciting Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay. Welcome back to Nikāya study, and today we are going to study a new sutta of Kuttadanda Sutta. So this is on Tika Nikāya number 5 sutta of Tika Nikāya. So this Kuttadanda Sutta is talking about the sacrifice. And especially the bloodless sacrifice. So the Brahmin Kuttadanda and the same expression as the other former Brahmin, like the Sonadanda. So this Kuttadanda is one of the chief Brahmin in the southern village of Hanumata, the southern village. So in the Sonadanda, he was the chief of the town. And this one, the Kuttadanda, is a Hanumata village only. And the same expression and confirmed by the King Bimbisara of Magadha as royal gift. Then the Buddha arrived at the Ambalatika park of the Kanumata village. At that time, the Buddha Danda was planning to have a great sacrifice. So for his expectation, for the starting expectation, he is trying to make the great sacrifice at that moment. Then he collected the animal to make the sacrificial tax by killing. So his intended sacrifice can be understood as the bloody sacrifice. So it's great amount, 700 bulls and bullocks and heifers, goats, rams. So many animals are supposed to be killed in the sacrifice. But at that moment, the Buddha arrived and lived in the Ambalatika park nearby the Kanumata village. And the same report, like the Sonadanda, he has heard about the Buddha's honors, good report spreading around the countries. Then he trying to approach to the Buddha because he has a question. Although he was intended to perform the bloody sacrifice, actually what he likes to do is the greater one than what he is planning. So he have heard about the greater sacrifice, like the triple sacrifice, with the 16 requisites. So he has learned the ascetic Gautama already understand how to arrange this sacrifice. But for himself, he does not know, because this kind of sacrifice is not mentioned in their text. Then he just learned about the kind of sacrifice already understand by the ascetic Gautama. So he liked to ask about this kind of great sacrifice, and he liked to approach to the Buddha. Then he approached. Then before he approached, and the same thing, the same expression, repetition in the sutta, as mentioned in the former sutta, Sonadanda Sutta. Then finally he approached to the Buddha and sat in one side. Then he asked his question. Then the Buddha replied, explaining about the King Mahavichita's sacrifice. So this was a long time ago. It does not mention when it is happening. The Buddha addressed the name of King Mahavichita. Then he was a rich king. Also already have the great amount of property, like gold, silver, and also the position of possession and requisites. So it means he can enjoy his life as a king in present life. So he has stories full of treasury. But then he could not satisfy just enjoying the present life, and he was thinking of the great sacrifice for the benefits and happiness of long time benefits. It refers to the next life. And so he thought that as a human being, and I'm a great king and wealthy king, having the power to control the great land. I have conquered a large land. But still, I like to make a great sacrifice for the long-term benefits and happiness. So this is wise reflection, a kind. If we have a good life in this present moment, and we should consider how to maintain the present moment, present happiness and benefit. Afterward, we should consider what about the next life. And some people may not believe in next life, but still questionable. So if we don't believe in next life, but we cannot reject as well. Some people say that there's no proof for the next life. If so, we can ask: is there's no proof for the rejection of next life as well? If there's next life, if we arrange, it is fine. So if we absent to prepare for our long-term happiness and benefits, including next life, so that will be our failure. That's why us being a wise man, he consider, now I'm okay as a human being and king. Everything is fine in my present life. I have to consider about long-term benefits and next life on along the cycle of rebirth like this. So King Mahavajira, he consulted with his minister chaplain. This is called the Purohita in Pāļi. It's taken by the Brahmin. So the Brahmins are educated the people. Then they can lead the country by their roles and advising to the king. That the king appointed this position, Purohita position, the minister chaplain. So he always consult and even is considered as the personal advisor or a royal advisor. Then he asked for instruction about the great sacrifice, how to perform, how to arrange for the great sacrifice. Then the Purohita, the minister chaplain Brahmin, he instructed the great sacrifice endowed with the system reason. The system reason and in 3 moods. That kind of sacrifice can be considered as the beneficial or can bring a great amount of benefit to those who perform the sacrifice. That this is how the Purohita instructed to the king what kind of sacrifice is different from the Guddadanda arranged, the sacrifice Guddadanda has arranged. So, okay, before he gave his instruction about the great sacrifice to the king, the Purohita, the minister chaplain Brahmin, he explained about the situation, whether it is suitable or not. Sometimes we need to wait for suitable time, or we need to prepare the ground preparation to have the proper sacrifice. Then he mentioned recently the country is beset by thieves, so surrounded by thieves and everywhere, thieves and robbers. So village and town are destroyed, so no safe at all. The situation is not safe. And the countryside is infested with the region. So although the king is thinking my country is okay and everything is in the order, but actually it was not. That's why the chaplain Brahmin remind him that you should consider about the country first. So we can learn, the being an advisor, he should be wise and also brave enough to give the true statement. So now the chaplain Brahmin, he explained the true situation of the country so that the king aware of and manage properly. Then he explained the harmful means and golden mean to solve this problem of the thieves. Then, so being aware of the country is not safe and not in well arrangement. If the king trying to raise the tax to that region, so the region is not stable and peace, and I will raise the tax, I will take more tax from that region to harm. This is a kind, the tax is weapon of the rulers. Ancient time, the king used to suppress the region. The people in that region erase the tax and amount of the tax, and then the people being suffer, and then they come down. Then sometimes they use this one, but this is harmful means, not the proper way to manage the country. Then if he raised the amount of the tax, what happened? I mean, it will be wrong, the Brahmin suggests, because the king can think, I will get rid of, I will remove this place of robber because there are so many robbers, and if I raise the tax, and then I can make peace in that land, and also I will excuse the robbers or imprison or confiscation, threat, and banishment. This is harmful means. At the beginning, it will harm to the robber or criminals, whoever. But later on, maybe the king can capture some of them and imprison or execution. He can do whatever he likes. But those who survive later, they will reorganize, and they will gather around and fight back to the king, and at least it can make more harmful to the region, the southern region. That's why the Brahmin does not recommend this harmful means. Then he suggests the golden means, golden way to settle down the region. That can completely eliminate the plague of the robbers, the problem of the robbery. So he suggests to give the grains and fodder in the country. Some people are engaged in the cultivation crops and raising cattle or raising some farms, animal farms like this. So you need to give the grain and fodder to those people so that they can run their economics. Then for those who are engaged in trade, and you should support giving capital for them. Then for those are engaged in government service, you should take care of their proper living wages, so enough salary, enough support. This is the right way to manage the country. By doing so, the people will focus on their own occupation and make more effort in their own work. and that will not harm to the kingdom. So in this sutta, we can learn how the country can be maintained and restored in the right position, into the right position. So this is the ancient text. It's mentioned that. So most of the government, maybe they are raising the tax or in prison, and they will think about it. But in this text, the Brahmin chaplain advised that only the golden means, not the harmful means. Okay, so then after arrangement, the king follow his revenues. The Brahmin explain the result if you follow the golden means to restore the peace of the country, peace of the region in your land. If you follow the golden means, your revenues will be great. You will get more tax because the country is developed, and then you will get more tax. And also the land will be tranquil and not be served by thieves. So if the country become in better position, then the thief, they don't need to do their work as a thief and robber, and they can make their living in the proper way. Then the people in your land will be happy playing with their children and dwelling in open houses. So it means the happiness and security can be restored. So to make the happy land, you should follow the golden means, golden way. Then he suggested, and the king accepted. Then he followed whatever the chaplain Brahmin advice. Then he could restore his country in the peaceful state. After that, he returned to the thought of sacrifice. Now, I'm following the chaplain Brahmin's advice, and my country is fine in the right position. So again, I like to make the sacrifice, considering my long-term benefits and happiness. So in this sutta, we can learn the proper time or the arrangement, something for the future benefits. So without the proper state or present time, if we are considering about the future, it will be wrong. So we need to care about the present moment first to make stable, and we can stand on that and calm down. And we can think about the further benefits and happiness. So this is the right way. Then the Brahmin instructed the following constituents of the great sacrifice. We will learn them in this session. So the 4 asserting groups, so supporting group. Then 8 things of kin. So 8 quality, we can say the 8 quality belong to the kin, and 4 qualities belong to the Brahmin. So being a teacher or instructor of the great sacrifice, he should be qualified enough. And so here the king is the donor or the owner of sacrifice, the host of the celebration. Then Brahmin is instructor. So these people need the certain qualities. So if we try to make any sacrifice or any the activity, we should consider, am I qualified or the manager is qualified, to manage properly. Then 3 moods. After that, 10 conditions of recipients. So we will learn all of them here, but let's move on. Then first of all, for a certain group, Prikara. These are 4 groups of the people surrounded to the king. So Khattiya, these are Khattiya from the town and country. These we can say these are Maharaja or the regional king, and the advisor and counselor of the country. Then most influential Brahmin of the land and householder. So wealthy householder, they hold the property in the land, property of the land. They are also considered as the important class of people. So these are 4 classes of people you have to think about for your support of for their support in the sacrifice. So you should the chaplain Brahmin suggests the king, you should inform them about your will to make the great sacrifice. And so you should invite them. You should invite them, the 4 group, letting them know about your idea of sacrifice. Then after the king agree and inform them, I'm going to make this kind of sacrifice. And so then the Brahmins say, okay, this is the time to start, because with the agreement of the 4 class important in the administration process. And if they agree, and you can start. If they have objection, and you should negotiate in this way. So with the agreement, and these 4 class of people can be accessory of the sacrifice or protection. So later on, we want to know how this becomes the protection. Then without the agreement of these people, if the king himself decide to perform the sacrificial tax, then there will be many objections and the problem later on. So the chaplain Brahmin suggests him to take their agreement first. Then consider about the quality of the king to host the sacrificial tax. Then 8 quality mentioned here. So many of them already found in the former sutta. So the Sonadana Sutta mentioned about this quality as the Buddha's quality and the Brahmin's quality, like this. So here he is well-born. Well-born means well-born in the kin, Khattiya caste, so kinship, and the Brahmin caste is the other class. So if one have this kind of lineage to the 7th generation, so he is considered as the pure blood in that starting class. So he is well born in the Khattiya caste and handsome, rich, and also he is powerful, having a full-branch army. So ancient time, the elephant, horse, chariots, and the troop, and they are considered as the strong branches of army. So the king holding the military powers in his own land, and his reputation goes among the enemies. So you cannot disturb, you cannot play with the king, because he is powerful enough to defeat you. And he's really faithful giver, and to host the donation, and without discriminating, he trying to donate the requisites to the ascetics or Brahmin and the other people in their needs, and consider us as a fountain of goodness, fountain of donation, whoever needs. And then you can go and ask to the king, because as the Brahmin chaplain suggests to him, support the people in the country in different way. Then he is very learned, so he should be learned. Actually, for the king, he need to fulfill the king's responsibility, and he already learned what to do in his position. Then number 7 is he knows this is the the wise person. Meaning, what does it mean? Some people, although they has learned about what they have to do in their text, but for themselves, it's too difficult to convince what is this meaning, or like this, the other case. Then the last one, he is wise enough to claim as a scholar and perceiving the advantage in the past, future, and present. Yes, that is true. That is why, because he can see the advantage in the present, and he follow to the chaplain Brahmin's advice, and he could manage the country in the proper way. Also, he could consider about the benefit or long-term benefits. Okay, so these are 8 qualities belong to the King Mahavijita. Then, because if the king has these 8 qualities and he is ready to host their sacrifice, and because this also considered as the one of the accessory or the protection of the sacrifice to be successful sacrifice. Then, so we got the 4 ascertain group and 8 quality of the king. And another aspect is 4 qualities of the minister chaplain Brahmin. So to be an instructor and manager of a great sacrifice, the Brahmin should be well born, so in the Brahmin caste. And he should be a scholar in expert in the mantra and Vedic text. So here, being scholar as a king and being scholar as a Brahmin is different. So that's why Brahmin can take his position. Also, he is virtuous, so virtuous Brahmin. Then he has learned so that he can claim as a wise person in the sacrificial ladder. Here, also different. What he is being a wise Brahmin and being a wise king in different texts. So he is able to host their sacrifice. Then Brahmin also have. After that, so the Brahmin remind him that 3 moods. So the sacrifice, before the sacrifice started, the Brahmin remind the king. Okay, so during the time of sacrifice, you have to spend your money, your gold, and many of your property. You have to spend. So you have to keep in mind regarding your wealth using in the sacrifice. You should not regret about the wealth, because here losing, at the moment you are giving away, you are making the sacrifice, then your property will be used that time. If you are considering about my wealth is gone and my money gone, and is not successful, mentally not successful in the sacrifice. That's why you should not have this kind of regret. So I'm going to lose before the sacrifice start, and the arrangement come at that time, you have to use your money. Then if you consider, I'm going to lose my property a lot, this is not successful. Then at the time, during the time of sacrifice, if you pay attention on the wealth, I'm losing, actually it is not right way. Then after you have done the sacrifice, as well, you cannot, earn money by sacrifice. That's why your property will be used. Then you should not think, you should not regret, I have lost a wealth. So in 3 periods of time, you should not regret. This is always mentioned about to be successful generosity action or donation. One should think, oh, I'm going to perform the donation to benefit myself and others. And at the moment also I'm doing. Then after what I have done, we should rejoice other than regret. So here also the same thing. The Brahmin remind you should not regret for the loss of wealth, because you wanted to perform the sacrifice. So you have to spend your money. But some people have this, like to have the party and also cannot like cannot maintain not to regret after spending a lot of money. Okay, so with the three moods, then here the qualms or uneasiness still can be possible at the time of the sacrifice, because this sacrifice is about the donation. It's not just like the Buddha intended to do that, just killing and eating like this. But here, what he is going to provide is the sacrifice with donation. That's why the chaplain Brahmin, he explained that the possible condition at the moment of sacrifice, so disappointing or the uneasiness in the mind of the king. So if somebody come to receive your donation, your sacrificial donation in the celebration, so there can be some people who is killing, who is engaging in the killing or taking life in the killing. And some people can be possible abstaining from taking life. So in both sides, the virtuous people and the evil people, possible in both sides come and involve in your sacrifice. If so, what to do is, if you pay attention to those kind of people who are engaging in taking life and killing, and so you let them go. You just let them participate. Don't pay much attention to them. But not only these kind of people will come to your sacrifice, and some people will come who abstain from killing. So here the translation is very strange, but actually the chaplain Brahmin, he liked to give instruction. That's why we can understand. So your sacrifice will be successful intending to those who abstain from killing. The virtuous people. So you're trying to make your sacrifice with them. Although those people come, and not virtuous people, and those people come and receive your donation as a recipient, you should not pay attention to them. And you make with these people who abstain from killing, the virtuous people, focusing on that, and you give away your donation. Although the recipients can be in both sides of virtuous and not virtuous people. So this is continue to the 10 unwholesome actions. So usually happen for the donors. So if the donor know the recipient of his donation is virtuous and great, and then whatever the quality, and down with the quality he satisfied, he can be happy. But if he learned, my donation go to that kind of people I don't like, he's not really virtuous, not great people, recognized by the people, the other people as a great man. So he cannot be happy anymore. and turns to regret. So actually, the act of donation should be done, with the pure mind, considering about the recipient's needs, whatever they need, and I like to offer, I like to donate to fulfill their needs. This is the first attitude. And after the considering for the better result or the more advantageous, and the people expect the recipients of their donation to be good person, a virtuous person, a great holy man like this. But if we, as the host of the donation, and we learn about this kind of instruction and this kind of right attitude. So before you arrange any charity or donation, and you can learn the recipients and who are in need, and you can decide before doing that, before your arrangement. And after that, and you can do properly. And when you are performing or you are making a donation, that at that time, if the people receive, and after that you learn about them, it's something good and something bad. So you should not let these people destroy your clear mind or your proper attitude on the donation process. So although some of them are not virtuous, and I just pay attention with these people who are virtuous people, not killing, then here you can rejoice for the donation going to those people abstaining from taking life, killing, good people. And so here, actually, your heart, the Brahmin chaplain intended to the king's heart. So your heart will be a claim, or the calm within, and your heart will be calm in the calm state if you pay attention to those people who are virtuous. Okay, so in this case, although some people are virtuous and some people are not virtuous, and we should pay our attention to the virtuous people and keep our mind in the proper state. And so the intention for the sacrifice also, we intend to those who are virtuous. And we rejoice with the virtuous people receive our donation, and our mind will be calm with this kind of proper attitude, proper focus. Then he continued talking about some people engaging in stealing. So in the act of stealing, what is taken, what is not given. And some people referring, so in both sides, good and bad can come to receive your sacrificial donation. And some people in the sexual misconduct, some people are refraining. Then, so these three bodily wrongdoing, about the bodily wrongdoing. So in Buddhism, we divide it into three groups: bodily action, verbal action, and mental action. So the first three referring to the unwholesome and evil action committed by physical performance, physical action. So killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. The participant can be in both sides, so those are engaging and those are refraining. Then the other four here, 4 to 7 are verbal action. So some people telling lie and some people abstaining from telling lie. Some people is the slandering or calumnies or slandering speech, or some people engaging in the harsh speech, and some people frivolous speech and talking vain talks. So you can see and you can hear their way of speaking, but you should pay attention those who are avoiding from the wrongdoings, bodily or barbarous. So here, 4 barbarous wrongdoings, barbarous unwholesome action. And the last 3 are mental action. That some are so much greed and covetous, so attached to other people more and more they need, and they like to get what they receive. They like to get more than what they receive. And those are not their kinds. And some people have the strong evil, their strong anger, and to destroy, they are always ready to perform the wrongdoing. Inside their mind, the anger is so strong. And some people, they don't have this kind of anger. And some people have the wrong view, and some people, some recipient will hold the right view. So it doesn't matter the audience, if you invite them to receive your sacrificial donation, and both sides will come, and good and bad. And so you cannot block the only good people come and the bad people cannot come. So you just need to accept the real situation of your sacrifice. Then you can regulate your mind, focusing on those who are virtuous, and you're trying to make your sacrifice to be successful with those people, virtuous people, and trying to rejoice by yourself and keep your internal calmness within the action of sacrifice. Then this kind of sacrifice can be considered as the fruitful sacrifice. Otherwise, if he fail to maintain his mind in this way, and regret will come. So what happened is, later on we will learn about the karma theory in the Sutta. So in this case, I like to a little bit introduce about the karma here. Here in the instruction in the process of sacrifice, they are going to do is good deed, wholesome karma or good action. So that can produce later in the future, that can produce a good result. But the opposite way, if he regret and not satisfied with the recipients, or if he makes something wrong to the recipients, and this can be considered as the bad action or bad karma. So good action can produce good result. So bad action, bad karma will produce bad result. Or in this case, if the king cannot maintain his mental statement in the sacrifice, what will happen is missed karma, because he is performing the wholesome deed, good deed, with hosting the sacrifice and donation. But if he regret and he do something bad action toward those people are not virtuous. Although they are not virtuous, we cannot find our excuse because he is not good and I do this, and we cannot find this kind of excuse. That unwholesome is unwholesome. Bad deed is bad. That's why if he perform any evil action or unwholesome karma upon those people who take life, etc., so not virtuous people, there will be missed karma. At the same time, at the same the performance, he's doing sometimes good action and sometimes bad action. This kind of good and bad mixture of the action, it means the mind movement switching to good to bad and bad to good, back and forth. Then the karma also considered as the mixture in the certain period of time. Then that kind of mixture karma will produce the mixture result. So when the king received the resultant of this sacrifice, he cannot fully enjoy, because the bad result also will come along with the good result. So this is good to know. Many of our seniors teachers, they advise to make sure when we perform the wholesome deeds and the good karma for our future benefits, and we should make sure is it completely purified or to maintain in the right position. So here, the chaplain Brahmin, he makes sure with the king. So the former aspects are important to be successful, successfully host the sacrifice. So the ground condition of the country is very important, and also the asserting group. So if they don't agree, and then later on they will criticize, and then also the king can lose their support. That's why they can be the protection of the sacrifice. Then later they will make their sacrifice surrounding and in the area of the king's sacrificial place. Then the other 8 qualities also just to perform the sacrifice, even if one of the quality absent and he still can do it, and the result will not change. And the Brahmin qualities and 3 moods. So the 3 moods and the 10 conditions are very important to maintain the right position of mind in the process of donation. So now in this sutta, and we learn how to make the sacrifice or donation successfully, so that it can be maintained in the position of good deeds only, not allowing the unwholesome karma come into the process. If the process is connected with the both side of wholesome and unwholesome, we cannot expect the good result then when that karma is mature and produce the result. That's why here, regarding the loss of wealth, so because we decide to perform this kind of sacrifice, definitely we have to use our property, our wealth. That's why we should pay attention on the other side, other than paying attention to the loss of wealth. So at the same time, we spend our property, or you spend your property to arrange the donation. And the arrangement, the process is the progress is going well, and you have already arranged this and that to get ready to host the sacrifice. Then if you pay attention on the wealth, and then your mind can lead to regrets. If you pay attention on the progress, how many percent of arrangement we have done, and you can be happy. And also at that time, during the time of sacrifice, and if you are paying attention, my words are taken away, and that can easily lead to the regret. Or if you pay attention for the recipient side, or they get what they need, and you can maintain your mind in happiness. And after the sacrifice finish, also if you learn about how they receive and how they happy with your donation, and you can be happy. You can keep your happiness. Or if you are thinking about how much amount of your wealth gone, and that can lead to the regrets. Then about this, the 10 conditions, we can find out whenever we do any kinds of sacrifice, and we cannot expect the holy man only can come and receive my donation. So both sides of good and bad can come. Now what we have to do is we have to maintain our mind in the right position to be in the wholesome state, and that can produce the good benefits, good advantages in the future. Okay, so by letting know the king about the 10 conditions, and the Brahmin chaplain he makes sure to remove the doubt about their 10 conditions. So the king, before that, he may expect that all the good guys come and receive my donation, but now he knows how to manage his mind, and this is more important. Okay, so I'm going to stop here today's explanation, and we can continue discussion. And yeah, this is different one. You know that in the next session, we will learn about the Buddha's instruction, that the Brahmins question that what is the better one to perform the sacrifice, and then gradually the Buddha lead him to the practice. So as the main principle or main course of these books, or Sila Khandavagga, the principle we should not forget is studying from the Buddha's appearance in this world, and learning about the Dhamma. Then the follower, he follow the practice of threefold training: morality, concentration, and wisdom. Yeah. Okay, so today we learn about the sacrifice. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Sadhu, for your teaching today. We have like 33 minutes left. So may we open the floor for today's question after the announcement?
Okay. Yes, please.
Okay. So